The last one I thought about was, would you rather live in Halloween or Friday the 13th?
Halloween.
Okay, why?
Michael Myers is a little bit more of a actual like living person, even though he might be like possessed by the devil or what have you or whatever the fuck it is, and is kind of an unstoppable force. Jason is a zombie. Jason is a fucking zombie. That's why he doesn't stop.
He's a zombie on bath salts.
Yeah.
I mean,
like,
it was kind of a trick question, only in the sense of just don't go to Camp Crystal Lake. Easy peasy.
But apparently he can go to Manhattan.
And space. And then just
dude, do you know the story to Jason 10?
And then just don't be a babysitter. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there you go.
Don't be a babysitter. You're good.
Oh my God, Jason X. That movie is so ridiculous.
Yeah, but it's like fun. It's fun ridiculous.
Yeah, but it's just like the whole premise of like him being like shackled, like they're sending him up into space. Actually, I can't fucking fully remember it, but
yeah, isn't that what it is? They send him to space or something.
Yeah, I can't fully remember. It's something stupid and ridiculous. It's that rule, that law is like when franchises ran out of ideas, they just end up in space.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's fair. But wait,
they have nowhere else to go but up.
Which one's the Friday the 13th where, like, it's that classic, you know, I'm gonna get naked, take a shower, man. And she gets naked, takes a shower, she gets attacked, and then she runs into the forest, and then Jason, like, gets blown to pieces by a SWAT team.
I'm pretty sure that's Jason 10. Jason X. That's the beginning of Jason X.
I don't think so. I think it's older. Because then the guy eats the heart, and he gets, like, possessed.
Oh, that's Jason Goes to Hell. Okay. Oh, yeah, okay. Jason Goes to Hell, that's right, yeah. That's the weird one where like people start eating like Jason's heart and then they become Jason or like let's get into
I just gotta say that's one of the best beginnings of any like slasher from that area. Them just blowing. They finally go, oh, we figured it out. He lives in Crystal Lake. Let's trap him. And they blow him up.
But they don't fucking figure it out because he still fucking comes. He's still killing people. Like
because some psycho ate in his heart. This is Tommy.
This is Jacob.
This is Tommy and Jacob's mixtape.
Jacob's mixtape. Hey, everybody. Hey. Hope you're all doing good out there. Another awkward recording. I don't know. Every time we do these like remote ones, I'm just kind of like, the energy's not the same.
Yeah, but it's good practice, you know.
Yeah, it is, and just So again, like since so you guys, if you haven't picked it up, we're doing a remote one this week. I came down under the weather, and just so I don't possibly spread bullshit, I figured it'd be best if I stayed home. And luckily, I am feeling a little bit better too. Not enough to record. I'm still congested. I'm pretty sure you can hear that. Yay.
The bullshit variant.
Right. You know, or maybe I'm just built differently. All right, I can just fucking
just built different.
I can knock this shit out in 2 days.
Yeah. So he sounds congested, and I'm sure I sound a little echoey, but you know, it is what it is. We got to do what we got to do.
Yeah. But yeah, picking up from last week, continuing into the vein of the old animated childhood stories, we are doing James and the Giant Peach. James and the Giant Peach.
James and the Giant Peach.
Yes, which came out in 1996, April 12th, 1996 to be exact.
Which makes me think I probably saw this for my birthday.
So what? Yeah, you would have been 4?
4, yeah.
Yeah, actually, because right after your birthday, too.
Yeah. So, yeah, I probably did. I should ask my mom.
And I would have been 10. Or about going on 10. So actually, this was one of my favorite books as a kid. I remember, which we'll get into a little bit more of that as well.
I didn't know it was a book.
Oh yeah, yeah. We'll definitely go down that rabbit hole. But
Butthead made me feel stupid for not knowing it was a book.
Really?
Yeah, and I was like, why the fact that you even know what a book is surprising to me.
Do you even know how to read?
Yeah, I was like, I think that's what I said. I was like, I didn't know you could read, fuckhead.
All right, well, let's see here. So for ratings, it had on IMDb a 6.7, and then a 78% on Metacritic, and a 91% tomato rating on Rotten Tomatoes, which I thought is very high.
Yeah, that is pretty high.
That's very high. I'm like, okay. 65% audience score rating on Rotten Tomato, which I felt that's a little bit more close to what it should be. 96, it was number 58 domestically and number 55 worldwide for box office. Do you have more box office stuff to share with that?
So box office wise for 96, it was internationally at number 55, but also in this year, Independence Day came out. Twister, the first Mission Impossible, The Heat, and Jerry Maguire. So we had 2 Tom Cruise in the top 5. Interesting. I just put that together. And then, even though this was in a sense critically this did pretty well, but it's technically a flop. And just because it was a budget of $38 million and it grossed $28 million.
Yeah, it didn't do well box office wise.
No, but it's cool that critically people were like, yeah, this was this was an interest. For the time, it was very interesting. And it's a very different kids movie. Even to this day, watching it again, it's like,
yeah,
it's one of the stranger kids movies out there.
Well, I mean, it is Roald Dahl, and he just he always wrote more like darker stuff, anyways.
Yeah.
For kids books. I mean, he's Norwegian, so a different world of people writing stuff. That's a weird way to say that. So for 96, what was your movie count?
53.
53. Mm-hmm. Mine was 86.
Jesus. All right.
I feel like it's the mid 90s that I kind of like really have seen a lot of shit.
And I'm like the 2000s, which it makes sense. Yeah. It really does.
Yeah. I was watching a lot of stuff between the ages of 9 and 13, and you were probably doing the same thing.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. Because I was 4, so.
Yeah. What's your synopsis?
So my synopsis for today is: young boy travels from London to New York on a giant seagull-powered flying peach with humanoid bugs to escape his abusive aunts. Not ants, aunts. Because we are
aunts.
We're talking about bugs, so I want to make that clear. They're not giant abusive ants that are hitting him. They are humans that are terrible aunts. True
to that.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember actually in the book, really, they did a really good job of. I feel like that's one of the funnest, adaptations from it is the ants were really kind of gross and scary in the book, and they did a really good job with that in this movie as well.
Oh, the ants are amazing.
Yeah,
the aunts are amazing. They were horrifying, and they're wonderfully horrifying. Especially the Spiker.
Oh yeah,
the taller one. She was amazing. She's all gaunt, and yeah, she was great. I loved her. I mean, you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know what you meant. Well, let's get into the thick of it. And since there's a lot of actors in this as well, let's try to keep things down to 1 or 2 things per person.
Yeah, it sounds good.
Yeah. Oh man.
So let's.
Let's start with director, obviously. Yeah. And which I think it's very important to really point out Henry Selick for this, because he was the director of Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yes.
And Coraline.
And Monkey Bone.
And Monkey Bone, yeah, which I think we both have those 3 written down because of the the animation that's in those 3 movies.
Yeah, the correlation between the actual, because this, if you haven't never seen
Coraline.
The Coraline. This movie is kind of like what we were doing with Page Master, but this is live action going into stop animation.
Yeah.
So that's his his medium that he uses. So that's why we picked out those ones specifically. I did want to say one thing I wanted to bring up about him too is that there was at one time, I kind of did this little deep dive into what he was working on. They were planning on making a Little Nightmares TV show with him being the creator and director.
Yeah, I saw that.
Which, that sounds incredible and right up his alley. Can you imagine him making a Little Nightmares TV show?
I mean, I don't really know much of the story, but from just like the art and the gameplay that you showed me, yeah, I could totally see it.
Oh, did you not play Little Nightmares? I thought you did.
No, I never played it.
Oh, well, Little Nightmares is a video game, but the entire idea is that you're playing as a child. It's like a side-scrolly 3D puzzle game, but you're hiding from these horrific, like, body horror adults that are trying to hunt you down. And the whole idea is the game is supposed to give you that sense of being little and afraid of adults. So just the premise alone, and then his, like, claymation style, I was like, I would kill for that to be made. I think that would be really cool. I'm like bummed out it got canceled. But yeah, just a little fun thing. Little Nightmares TV series. Never thought of that being a thing, but it was thought of.
Yeah. So going down into writers, I could really only find... What was interesting is that there's 3 screenplay writers, but only one of them I could really find information on in like the background of the history of this through Wikipedia. Like... Only one it was hold on a second. So Carey Kirkpatrick, one of the lead writers, he wrote he was like one of the people that wrote like an early like spec script for it, and it was like between him and somebody else that wrote one, and Kirkpatrick was chosen. So it's like he was kind of like the initial writer for it. And then I don't know who the fuck Jonathan Robbins or Steve Bloom are. I couldn't really find much on him, but we'll just kind of bring up like what else they've worked on. But yeah, so Carey Kirkpatrick, he was a writer on Chicken Run, which apparently there's another one coming out soon.
I know. I'm so excited.
Which, yeah, I remember I loved Chicken Run when I was a kid. That movie was fucking
Chicken Run was cool.
And strangely, one that stuck out to me was a movie that I really watched a lot was Honey, We Shrunk Ourselves, the third Honey, We Shrunk things, like trilogy shit.
Well, because there's Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, Honey, I Blew Up the Baby, or I Blew Up the Kid.
Yeah.
Honey, We Shrunk Ourselves.
Yeah, that's it. Well, as far as I know. Yeah.
That's it, okay. Yeah, that's all I remember. He's also was a screenplay writer. They were a screenplay writer for Road to El Dorado, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, Spiderwick Chronicles. Like, there's a Little Vampire. Remember that one?
Yeah.
With the Jerry Maguire kid.
The Jerry Maguire kid. Because nobody knows his name. He's just the Jerry Maguire kid.
I don't.
Spiky hair and the glasses.
You know his name?
I don't know his fucking name. He doesn't act anymore, as far as I know.
Ray, the zoo's fucking closed.
You have anything else with him?
Because we have a lot of other people to talk about. So.
Jonathan Roberts, who is a writer with the Lion King and Hunchback of Notre Dame, I saw.
Jack Frost, one of your favorites, Once Bitten.
Oh yeah, I didn't see that actually.
And a really random Disney movie called Dinosaur. Do you remember that one?
Say that again?
A random Disney movie called Dinosaur?
Oh, yeah, Dinosaur. It was a weird, like...
That was...
It was, like, CGI-ish?
Yeah, it was, like, CG, and, like, they had to run... He was, like, friends with lemurs. Like, instead of, Tarzan got taken by gorillas, he got taken by lemurs.
All right, so
like,
let me rephrase that.
Lemurs.
I remember a movie called Dinosaur. I don't remember the movie.
Well, there you go.
And then Steve Bloom, which is the third screenplay writer, who very Disney because one was Tall Tale, which I think I brought this up to you. Patrick Swayze, Oliver Platt. It's like this kid goes into the land of tall tales. I don't know. I don't fully remember the movie, but I remember liking it when I was a kid. Because I went through a weird phase when I was like 8 or 9 where I was like really into like American tall tales, like Pecos Bill and Johnny Appleseed, Paul Bunyan.
Yeah. I remember you talking about that, but I don't recall it.
All right. Well, there we go. And then another movie that I pointed like was strangely just like completely like different from all of this. Steve Bloom has written was called Overnight Delivery, which is a Paul Rudd and Reese Witherspoon romantic comedy, which eerily has like almost the same concept as Road Trip. Boyfriend sends accidentally sends something to girlfriend across state college and has to chase there before it actually gets there type thing.
Okay.
That was strangely a movie I rewatched a lot when I was a kid.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I like both those actors, so.
I think that's where I started having a crush on Reese Witherspoon. She's also a brunette in that movie.
Not for.
She's not blonde. Very strange. Very dark brunette, actually.
Fun fact. That is kind of weird to think of her as a brunette.
Do you have anything else for Steve Bloom?
Nope. That was about it.
All right. And then, so this is based off of a book written by Roald Dahl. He was more of a writer from like 1940s to 1990s. A lot of his books have been turned into movies. I mean, probably most famously, I would say, is Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Yeah. Well, like, I was just kind of blown away. There's one, The Gremlins, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Fantastic Mr. Fox, which is one of my favorites, Big Friendly Giant, Witches, and Matilda.
Yeah, like a lot of children's like stories and it's like they all have like a little bit of like of a dark twist to them, like a darker theme to them, you know? Like abuse. Like a lot of these kids are abused or starving.
Yeah, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, there's a lot of abuse going on. Witches, they're trying to eat children, and Matilda, abusive parents.
Yeah.
Wonder what was going on. Was that too far? Was that the line?
I wonder if something happened in his in his past.
Yeah, you know. Yeah. So that was just interesting.
But yeah, I think we can move into starring next actors.
Yeah.
Which
that's gonna be that'll take a second. So let's do that.
Well, really quick, I just want to pull out. So first of all, we have James, who is the actor Paul Terry, where I decided to do a thing called Where Are They Now? Because he is no longer an actor. Which quickly on Wikipedia, I just found it's like, he's just like, in the 2000s, he was a bass guitar player for a band, and now he's just like an English teacher or something. Where's it at? Okay, oh no, here we go. He received his master's degree in civil engineering, and is a mathematics teacher and aspiring novelist, and lives in County Durham in northeast England. Could you imagine like having like your teacher, and it's like maybe he doesn't say anything, he doesn't bring it up, and some kids just like someone's just in there like staring at him like, man, you look like somebody from my childhood.
Who is it? No one.
Don't worry about.
Or maybe
and he just stares at them eating a peach.
Yeah, he does exactly what it is. Just eating a peach. For some reason, he's really into bugs. You know. Hates fish.
Yeah, this is really like all Paul Terry really did. I mean, he had some stuff on like Disney and whatnot. It looks like, but all he did, it was a children's sitcom called Micro Soap. But yeah, this is pretty much his thing.
Yeah. The way I did it was, since that's how the movie goes, I did all the live action people first. because those are the first people you're introduced to, and then I
Okay.
went into the voice actors.
Word. So, who do you got for a second? Who do you got next then?
Next I have Jonah Lumley, excuse me.
The tall ant.
Who I didn't really actually recognize. Yeah, Ant Spiker, who I didn't actually really recognize anything for them, but they were in Eurotrip. They were a voice actress in The Corpse Bride, Wolf on Wall Street, which I still haven't seen, and then some kind of dual movie franchise called Absolutely Fabulous.
Oh, interesting.
Which there was like one back in the day, like in the 90s or something like that, and then there was one more recent, and it's like a sequel to it. But yeah, I didn't really recognize anything for them. Did you?
No, not really. Like, in fact, I didn't really put her down on my list because I did the list before even really watching the movie. So it's just like, oh, she doesn't seem to have a big role. But I mean, she ended up having a bigger role than I expected. But
yeah, like she's one of the main antagonists.
Yeah.
So, and then I had following up the other ants.
Miriam Margolyes.
Thank you. I was trying to how would you Margolyes, who was in also a voice actress in Babe.
Yeah.
And Balto. Although she was in Balto, but she was Grandma Rosie, who's like telling the story of Balto. I thought it was funny. She was in Mulan as the matchmaker.
Oh, I didn't catch that.
Which then once I knew that, I was like, oh, I totally hear it. And I guess probably most known for she's a professor in Harry Potter and is the nurse in Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah.
Or Romeo plus Juliet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then I'm going to let you take Pete because I don't know how to say his last name.
Pete Postlethwaite?
Postlethwaite?
Yeah, Postlethwaite.
Postlethwaite, which I didn't know. Did you know he passed away? I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, that took me by surprise too. I was like, oh, well, R.A.P., dude.
Yeah, he passed away in 2011.
What
would you most recognize?
I put down
for?
Romeo and Juliet as well.
Oh yeah, he's the priest, right?
And Dragonheart.
Yeah, that was mine. Or Lost World.
Which I don't. I mean, I have like an image of him in it, and that's pretty much it.
He's pretty funny in that one. Like not funny, but he's very dry and like he hates everyone around him basically. But yeah, in Lost World, he's the hunter going after the T-Rex. And interesting enough, too, he's in Alien 3. Do you remember him in that?
No, I don't actually.
But it's funny. So he's credited in Alien 3, which I don't remember him in, but his name in Alien 3 is David Postlethwaite.
Interesting. Huh.
So he has the same last name, but just a different first name. Which I just thought was a weird...
Maybe he wanted his name to be changed because he didn't want to be associated with it.
No, but like, I mean, his character name is David Postlethwaite.
Oh, okay. Well, that's weird.
So, yeah, that sounds like I don't get it. But anyways, anything else for those? People?
Nah. I mean, we got like 12 more to go through. We need to pay that.
Okay, so let's do voice actors now. So, who'd you got starting?
I got Simon Callow, who I didn't really notice any other like voice acting things. I did recognize the biggest thing I recognize him from is Ace Ventura: When Nature Calls.
Yeah, he's the bad guy.
Yeah,
with the little mustache.
The little mustache.
The one that slipped on the guano.
The one who he's killing animals for sport, and Ace freaks out when he walks into the room. I forgot
about that. That's what you slipped in. That's what's on your shoe, and that explains the abrasion on your palm. Damn, I'm good. That guy.
Yep.
Also, I just thought this for us too. Apparently, he's in Hawkeye, which I haven't watched yet.
I didn't remember him, and I didn't pinpoint it.
And he's in Witcher, which I didn't fucking notice.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Let's go next to actually, we should maybe put like Simon Callow does the voice of Grasshopper.
Oh yeah, let's do that. He's the grasshopper.
Richard Dreyfuss, who does voice of Centipede. Really, I think most notable stuff is probably like Jaws and Close Encounters of the Third Kind. I couldn't really find any other voice acting credits.
No, and then what stuck out to me, like just from seeing him, was What About Bob?
Oh yeah,
And he has a little bit part in Red, and he's also in American Graffiti.
I don't think I've seen American Graffiti actually.
I have weird fever dream memory of it.
That's fair.
Yeah. And he plays the centipede. Then following up would probably be
Jane Leaves.
Susan? Yeah, okay, let's do Jane. Jane Leaves, who I only very briefly recognize from the remake of Miracle on 34th Street. And that was about it.
She's what's her name in Frasier? But you've never watched Frasier, so
Seinfeld.
no, she's also in Seinfeld, but she is a main character in Frasier.
Is she really?
She's the housekeeper that Nigel falls in love with.
Oh, okay. And then who's she in Seinfeld?
She's just a one of Jerry's girlfriends for a couple episodes.
Oh, I didn't notice the Frasier thing. So yeah, that's Jane.
But
I don't.
I mean, well, her voice acting credits. I mean, she was Athena in Hercules, the TV show. Like the animated Disney show that lasted for a season.
The Disney one.
Yeah, and she's a reoccurring voice and additional voices for like Phineas and Ferb.
Oh,
I feel like this, her starting this, kind of like jump started like kind of a little bit of a voice acting career for her.
Okay, so that's like what she's like kind of like mainly does now.
Daphne, that was her name in Frasier.
There you go. Okay. Interesting. Oh yeah, like okay, yeah. Mickey Mouse Mixed Up Adventures. Yeah, okay. There's a couple of different voice actor. Interesting. Penguins of Madagascar. All right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so she's actually got a good amount of stuff, but she started more on like on screen before she went to voice.
Mm-hmm.
She's got a very sweet voice. Yeah, sorry. What Susan Sarandon next?
Yeah, I thought that was so random. Susan Sarandon is Spider. She's also in Witches of Eastwick, Thelma and Louise, Robot and Frank, Bad Moms 2. She's in Rescue Me for a minute. Elizabeth, she's you know Susan Sarandon. Like
yeah, Rocky Horror Picture Show. She's in Stepmom, with Julia Roberts.
She's in Speed Racer, which I always bring up whenever it comes up because that movie's cool. I don't care what anyone says.
And then for voice acting credits, she actually has a couple. She's done some stuff with Robot Chicken on a couple episodes, oddly enough. And she's also a reoccurring Rick and Morty character. She's Dr. Wong.
I feel like Rick and Morty and Robot Chicken have become like the Law and Order of voice acting.
I mean, I can see what you're saying. Well, especially Robot Chicken.
Yeah, like there's a lot of people that end up on those shows.
Yeah.
At some point or another.
But it's also kind of like a Dan Harmon thing. Is like who he can get for like a guest appearance in like episodes and whatnot as well. And he has like he has a group of people that he specifically likes to work with as well. Because like even like in Community, like Jack Black's in an episode, Owen Wilson is in the same episode just for like 30 seconds. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. That's funny.
Let's see. Then we got Earthworm, who is voiced by David Thewlis.
The only person that we've ever done before.
What did we do with him in?
Gangster number 1.
Oh, yeah. That's right. He was the gangster. He was the number one gangster.
He was the number one gangster. Also, go ahead.
I was going to say he was the king.
Yeah.
Harry Potter, Island Dr. Moreau. That's why I was like, why did we bring up Island Dr. Moreau and him? I couldn't remember why, but that's why.
Yeah, he's also Dragonheart. He's the evil king, and he's probably most notable from Harry Potter. He's Professor Lupin, the werewolf, and probably most recently he was in Wonder Woman
as Ares.
Yeah, he's like I don't want to get into that. He's also, funny enough, he's in Red 2.
No, really.
Which I don't remember that. Yeah, but he's in that apparently.
Voice acting credits. He's the Shame Wizard in Big Mouth.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah. Oh, so you think you can get away with it not feeling any shame? Yeah.
There is a movie I added to our watch list with him called Naked that I want you to watch the trailer of because I think we would both be really into it. I have no idea what it's about, but it's a British dark comedy.
You saw Naked and you were like, ooh, yes, please. Sorry.
No, I saw David Thewlis and I really like David Thewlis. That's why.
David Naked David Thewlis. That's what you were thinking about.
Anyone else you wanted to bring up, or is that like everyone?
I mean, I guess really quick, I don't know if we said it. Miriam Margolyes also does the voice of Glowworm.
Oh, yes. Correct. I gotta say, though, Earthworm was probably my favorite character.
He's the only one with, like, well, not the only one. It's really, man, the arcs in this movie. I think we should get into reviews and just get into the meat of this movie because I have things to say.
Alrighty, let me just bring that up real quick. So for reviews, there are 31 positive, 4 mixed, and 1 negative. Kind of going back into what we were saying about how this was actually kind of critically, wasn't completely ripped apart. Steve Persall at Tampa Bay Times. The mortal in me is increasingly certain I'll never live to see cinema's most astonishing achievements. The kid in me is happy to be alive right now. I was like, oh, that's kind of a nice little... Like, I was like, wow, that was really cool for, like the little kid in me really enjoyed that, There's one other one that I didn't write down that I wanted to bring out. Okay, Denson Thompson at the Washington Post is another positive. Imaginative, slightly creepy, with tremendously appealing to all ages. It's ripe to bursting with visual effects, a heady combination of stop motion and computer generated imagery, and was a delightful cast of personal bugs and larvae, all bound for New York City via floating fruit. And then for mixed, I had Chris Curdley at Baltimore Sun, a visual feast of colorful stop-motion animation. Offers many bite-sized delights. Ultimately, though, it isn't nearly as flavorful as Dahl's deliciously perverse children's book upon which the movie is based. And then for negative, I had Kenneth Turin at Los Angeles Times, the first techno misfire from Walt Disney Pictures, an over-elaborate film that leaves you feeling hangered, harassed, and assaulted.
Whoa.
Which I just came to realize, this is our first Disney movie?
I don't think so. I mean, it depends what you mean by Disney, because technically Adventures of Babysitting was Disney. Freaky Friday was Disney, wasn't it?
Yeah, okay. Yeah. You're right. I don't remember about Adventures of Babysitting, but yeah, Freaky Friday.
Adventures of Babysitting was Buena Vista, which is that like...
sub company thing, yeah. So it's like technically it's under the Disney umbrella, the Disney flag.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So I had a lot of conflicting feelings watching this movie for the first time since I was a child, and remembering also as a child I didn't like this movie. And it's very strange because it was the first time I think I'd ever experienced, that everybody will experience at one point from, if they're a kid, is having one of your favorite books put onto screen and it not holding up to what you wanted it to be.
Aragon.
Yeah, is that a big one for you?
That's a huge one for me.
Because, there are so many differences between the book and the movie, and I forgot about. I mean, I when we were talking about doing this, I remembered kind of having this feeling as a kid, but I was like, maybe I was just being a kid. But as I was rewatching the movie, I was kind of disinterested through a lot of it. Like, I don't feel like the story really grabbed me, and I could see like how this could be fun for like for someone who doesn't know the story, you know. But like, I just immediately started getting like irritated, and I was like, why am I getting irritated? And I remember it's like, oh, because the ants are actually supposed to get killed at the beginning. The idea of New York is not even a thing until the end of the book. The mechanical shark, I remember that pissed me off as a kid because it's a school of sharks that they get attacked by. The undersea ghost pirate ship stuff, not in the book at all.
They wanted to put Jack Skellington in there, okay?
And
also, this is produced by Tim Burton. Just for one of the producers is Tim Burton.
Was it actually produced by Tim Burton?
Yeah, it was produced by Tim Burton and what was their name? Oh, Denise Novi. Denise DeNovi were
Interesting.
two of the producers on this.
Okay, I didn't know that Tim Burton actually had his hand in this at all, but
I do but I thought that Jack Skellington cameo was so funny because also, did you notice that Centipede when he sees him, he goes a Skellington? He doesn't say skeleton. He says Skellington.
Yeah, 100%. I was like, oh, cool. Also, I remember as a kid being really frustrated about it being a musical too. Like,
it's terrible.
Yeah, the music is bad. Music is
it's
well. I mean,
it's
the
terrible.
music. I shouldn't say the music is bad. It's Randy Newman's music, which he's a great composer. He really is. But
not for this. This was bad. This is not like number one. Just the songs in general. There is not one. I cannot tell you a single lyric from any song, which is like every Disney movie. That's a sign of a really bad.
There's
when Disney
no
movies drop the ball.
There's no substance to these songs. There's no like I've talked about this before in like when like for musicals and when you have music and something is that you need to have there be like a build to the moment for like now they have to sing about something, you know? This was just kind of like and now insert song. Also, that little fucking kid James, his pitchy fucking voice.
James, shut the fuck up. Well, no, but that's the thing though. Is like I feel like, especially with Disney movies and musicals in general, but Disney specifically, is you can watch a Disney movie and, like, let me put it this way, like, just watched Encanto, right?
Yeah.
And I thought the movie was really cute, but none of the songs really stuck out to me except for Pressure. And I fucking love that song. And I feel like when a Disney movie is done right, that everyone can find a song that they really, really either like find either catchy or they really relate to, and just think about like if you were to make a list of Disney movies in your head, you could probably pick out a song.
Oh yeah.
That you know or remember really well. Hunchback of Notre Dame, Hellfire, boom, there's mine. You know what I mean? Like you can pick out
Riff
these like
Raff, Street Rat. Yeah.
Yeah, you ain't never gonna friend like me. Ha! You know, and what's funny too is that even just with the songs alone, they have an identity that you just sing that part and people are gonna know what movie you're talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
You royally fuck up if I can't tell you a single song in a Disney movie. That's a really, really bad sign that your music just wasn't really good. And it was so funny. We were watching it. And it was like halfway through, and at a certain point, I didn't know Randy Newman had done the music. I forgot to look that up because I'm forgetting it was kind of like forgetting it was a Disney movie. I forgot about the musical aspect. And I was just sitting there and I went, this sounds exactly like Toy Story. And my partner goes, what? And I was like, this sound, can you look up, my computer's open. Is this Randy Newman? And she went, yeah, it is. I was like, okay, listen to this. This sounds
right foot, left foot, right foot.
And for what this movie is, like visually and just like concept wise, Randy Newman, it was not the right choice for doing this, and I honestly feel like he called it in. Like he just went like, because also this is like high Randy Newman Disney, because Toy Story and stuff like that. He was doing a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And I feel like he just cashed in. He was just like, I don't give a. There was nothing. There was no soul.
I wonder if it was like a last minute thing where they're like, someone else is supposed to do it, and they're like, and they fucking bailed, or maybe they weren't like doing well, and it's like, and Disney's like, we got Randy Newman on site, just put him on in.
He's at the studio right now. You can use him. He just finished up Toy Story. You know, like
Randy, we need 5 songs right now. All right. I wish.
Yeah,
I want to learn how to do a good Randy Newman impersonation.
But that's just like the thing is like, especially with Disney, like a lot of us, the saving grace of a Disney movie is the music.
Yeah.
You know, like the music goes a long way a lot of the time, and if you, it's I don't know, I was very disappointed.
Stepping away from the music, how did you actually feel about the story of this movie?
Fucking Monsters Inc. Randy Newman.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just had to look that up. What did I feel?
How did you feel about the story? Like, what did you think the theme was? I mean, I think the theme is about escape. You know, trying to, you know,
finding a better life. Yeah, it's a journey to a better life.
Because like the whole thing is like James, like the metaphor of him like trying to face his parents' death, which is a lot bigger in the book, is lost in this movie in a big way. Like the recurrence of the rhino in the book is a lot more. Like it's in James's mind constantly. Like the fear of the rhino is so much more relevant in the book, and it's just kind of like tossed to the wayside in this movie to just like a weird adventure story that really has no growth to it. You know, like
I mean,
like James doesn't learn anything in this movie. James doesn't learn anything.
Yeah, he does. He stands up to his aunts. He finds the courage to stand up to his fears.
Kind of, but he's already been kind of fearless. I mean, he's I don't know. He's not like Richard from Pagemaster, where he was a scared little boy that had to learn how to face his fears. Like he you know, like he's resilient. He's actually like he's saving the spider. He's, you know, like there's gumption to him. Like he's the one that's he's easily coming up with these ideas to the solutions with the bugs, and the bugs are like, oh, James, that's a brilliant idea. You know?
But even then too, everything you're describing, like saving the, he's doing everything in secret, scared of retaliation from the ants. And then towards the end, he's like, "Screw it, I don't care." Well, it doesn't hurt that he's also surrounded by thousands of people. They're gonna, you know.
But that's also another thing is like the ants being the main like antagonist. Like once he's escaped them on the peach, they shouldn't even be a factor anymore. What the story is about him escaping to New York and facing the rhino to face the reality of his parents' death, and that is just swept under the rug in like a 3-minute sequence with a really weird looking CGI rhino.
I mean, I did like the rhino thing was kind of because in the book, the rhino is actually a rhino that eats people.
Yeah.
But this being a Disney movie, they're probably like, well, we can't actually show a rhino eating people. So also, what should we do?
A fucking rhino eating somebody is just a terrifying idea.
Yeah, like all blood from its maw and everything. But like, I just thought that transition was kind of an interesting take on it. Like, make it this storm cloud, and like, it's very much this overriding huge force coming after him. That was very never-ending story.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just like I don't know. I kind of also feel like just in general, Henry Selick he kind of should stick in his medium of stop animation. His live action sequences were just meh to me. A lot of it, I didn't really care. I mean, I really liked when I really liked that whole sequence when you meet the old man Pete Pulsaway.
Yeah.
I liked that also because his like transportation teleporting sequence was cool. Just how they shot that.
Yeah.
You know, like how he just kept like appearing, but like he would poke him on the chest, and suddenly he's like next to him. That was kind of cool. But then but it was just like the pacing. You know, it was like he's like, so be very careful. Don't drop these magical macaroni noodles that are living
alligator tongues
that are green. They're definitely macaroni noodles. Don't look at them too carefully. It's definitely pasta.
Radioactive pasta.
Yeah, like basically.
They're magical. When you eat it, you're gonna feel something very special.
But be very careful because they will use their magic on whatever they come in. Literally, whatever they come in contact with first. Okay, turn around, trick. like kid, get it together. Yeah, and it was like, I mean, the whole live action thing too is just like really pastel-y, but it wasn't. It was like dull pastel. It didn't really pop.
Well, no, that was done on purpose though, because they wanted the real life stuff to be look more dreary and like sad, and then the animation be more alive.
Yeah, and I mean the animation sequences are cool.
Actually, that's actually like it's one of the things I was looking at. Is like, what? Like I don't like how this movie had such like praise critically. Is like I don't see it, but it's like I guess like the only thing is like the animation is really really good, and it is a step up from A Nightmare Before Christmas. Like it's more fluid, it's smoother,
it's crisper.
Yeah, it's really well done for that. But then like I just feel it lacks so much in story, even like. I mean, I might just be a little bit biased because of like how I felt as a kid, and it's like still like coming forth into me, but I just wasn't really like captured by the story, and I as it moved from moment to moment, I didn't think it was cute. Like Page Master was cute, it was amusing. This all felt very dry and just forced.
Well, it's also like I just feel like you were saying too, the stop animation in general just has this kind of weird ability to age really well. Like even Nightmare, like I would say Nightmare is probably, like out of major motion picture stop animation, is probably probably the most dated looking, but it still looks good.
Yeah, that's true.
It's just not, and it's also like it's not even what the I guess the dolls, what would you call the figures look like. It's more of just the seamlessness. It's not super. You can kind of see it's not super smooth all the time. But this was really smooth. But that's also like you start adding like other elements into it where it's not just literally you're adding especially with like Coraline, you're adding a computer element to it to help kind of like push it along. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
I don't know.
Sorry, that sneeze kind of got me distracted, so I was just letting you ramble for a minute.
Reel me in.
I mean, I have a list of all the conflicts. I don't know. Is there anything else you really want to say about this movie?
Well, we talked about the music, and it's terrible.
I wasn't expecting you to kind of like be like on par with me about. I guess like the movie's divisive. It's like there is good stuff to it, but it's also like there's also not a lot of good. Like it's like.
I mean, the best thing is just like.
Well, we're saying the animation, really.
Yeah, and just little details, even like Spider, her webbing comes out of an actual spindle on her back.
Mm-hmm.
Like little stuff like that even like, Nightmare and Coraline had these little tiny details that are really fun to like catch and watch. Like even the Jack Skellington thing was like funny. I mean, during that whole scene, my partner just looked at me and she goes, "What's going on?" I'm like, "Babe, it's a giant peach being sailed by seagulls, and there's talk. You just gotta go with it, man. Like,
right?
Like, just don't. Yeah, they can breathe underwater. I don't know. Like
I did find it kind of interesting that like the only other character to actually have like a complete arc is Centipede.
Yeah.
Because like he's like, all like, I know the seas, la da da. Like he's also from New York somehow. Like what? Like he's a newsie from New York and they're in London. Also, hold the fucking phone really quick. How the ants fucking drove across the fucking Atlantic to New York in that fucking.
I loved that.
Oh my god. No,
I loved that. I thought that was hilarious.
It was.
Because that's one thing. Okay, there we go. That's one thing that I will say about this movie that I thought was really kind of like an interesting idea. Is that, like we were talking about in Page Master, it always starts off with a kid getting hit in the head and then causing some kind of like...
Yeah.
And that's also where it kind of falls apart because, so like the centipede being from New York, that's an idea that maybe James had and is projecting onto this character. So that makes sense if it's in his head. But by the end of this movie, all of this has happened. Yeah. All of this is real. None of this is like make-believe. This is all like the reality.
The magic beans are real. Yeah, the magic beans are real. Yeah.
He got turned into a cartoon, did the peach thing, got attacked by the mecha shark, flew it to New York, landed on the Empire State Building. His aunts drove on the ocean floor with their car. Yeah. Like, the bugs show up and save the day. It was the weirdest thing. I was like, I never realized that until watching it this time. When the bugs show up and save the day, I was like, oh my god, this is all happening. Like, this is all, like, actually happening in New York City right now. And I was like, that is so bizarre.
That's a fair way to put it, actually. Because the world has become so fantastical. Like, it seems like the fantasticalness is just kind of in his mind until it's proven to be not to be.
Well, but even the beginning, like, the ants are aware that this peach is growing.
Yeah.
But I think what happens then is that you see that, and you're like, okay, but then we go into the animated world, and we're like, okay, maybe now we're in this new realm or whatever. But then it comes back, and you're like, wait. hold on. And I really kind of enjoyed that, but then also that makes these things like, why is the centipede in London from New York? I mean, I do have to say that I was very uninterested, like even like with some of those reviews saying the fun, whimsical bug companions being really enjoyable. I was like, in my opinion, the only one that was actually really enjoyable was Earthworm.
He was that scaredy cat character, that.
Yeah, he was horror.
Yeah. Then like Centipede is essentially adventure, thinking that he's like talk of the town. He knows more than he actually actually does. He's, boasting himself up to be, more intelligent than he actually is. And then Spider, is kind of like it's like a fantasy as well. Like, I feel like, Spider, Earthworm, and Centipede have kind of like the most character. I mean, Grasshopper has character to him, but he's just kind of pretentious.
He's a wasp.
A wasp?
Yeah, like a cultured.
Yeah.
And
I was like, no, he's a grasshopper.
He's a grasshopper. Yeah, that's right. Well, like,
I'm trying to think what, because like that's just
the Earthworm just like he was the comic relief. He had like the one-liners that were like, I love him. Oh, and then a Glowworm. They were like the two.
Yeah, and Glowworm was really just a background character. Apparently, I remember there was another bug in the book called Silkworm.
They came at my brother with a shovel. Now I have two half brothers, like shit like that, like yeah, these little one-liners. My sister was swallowed by swallows, and they were just all like worm puns. But like I thought it was really funny.
No,
or, like when he runs into James, he's like, "Who's that? Keep away! Keep away!" I'm like, oh, I like the cowardly characters apparently.
Well, they're generally like they're kind of like the most endearing because in a weird we can relate to that fear,
Yeah.
Yeah, I really don't have much else to say about this movie.
Yeah, I mean, all in all, like, I guess that's kind of it. I mean, I like I like the animation. The pacing was kind of weird. Like what the challenges they end up overcoming are also just kind of like
Yeah, it's like I wrote down actually the challenges that they all like faced was like, well, to begin with, like the first one is the ants, obviously, but specifically on the peach itself was the shark is the first one as they're trying to start to fly, and then the second one is the lack of food, and then there's like, oh no, we can just eat the peach, and then was the next one the cold, right?
yeah.
Because they end up going.
Well, they had lost in the cold.
Oh, we obviously went north. We went up. We went up north, or really, really far south.
Was that earthworm?
No, that was a centipede. And then
yeah, and then the underwater sequence.
The ghost pirates, because there's looking like. There's the sunken ships and whatnot, and so he's like, "Oh, there should be a compass down in there. Those are pirate ships down there." And then Jack Skellington, the Blackbeard pirate.
And then Donald Duck.
Donald Duck?
Yeah, one of the other pirates was definitely Donald Duck.
Oh, I didn't catch that.
He even like did the voice and everything when he got hit.
And this is actually where like Centipede's arc comes, because he kind of like essentially kind of sacrifices himself to save James and Spider. Like,
yeah.
And then Spider's going to jump down to save him, and he comes up as the hero. Ha ha ha! And then I think the next conflict would be when the storm comes, and it's actually the rhino, and that's when James faces the rhino, which is very anticlimactic.
It's also kind of annoying. I'm not afraid of you!
Yeah. It's like, for a moment that should be like super like the arc of James becoming like this should be like the end of his hero's journey. It's not really emphasized, and that's why I think I don't like it with the ants, because like they put more emphasis on him overcoming the ants, when I don't think they're as much of a problem as him overcoming his parents' death. And his parents' death this movie should be more about like a kid dealing with the loss of their parents. And I don't.
Well, I
think
that also
and that's what. That's what I think. That's what the book is more about, and I think it was just it was lost in translation.
Well, I think that's also kind of goes into what I'm like kind of was saying too about that's where you lose it, because the whole rhino just as like also imagery comes off as a manifestation of his grief and his fear about his parents being lost. But then lo and behold, we get to New York. And so that and everything's real. So that means that they were being pursued by some sort of storm rhino thing. And then just by saying he's not afraid of it, he defeats it. So that's like, all of that comes off very like mental imagery. Like he's just finally breaking through his like paralyzing fear of what happened in the past. But then suddenly we're in New York and it's real. And it's like, well, you kind of have two different kind of big ideologies almost in this movie of actual present physical danger and then acceptance and realizing the strength in yourself, which can go hand in hand, but they just didn't execute it well.
It's not executed well.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I loved the whole, like, they actually drove through the Atlantic Ocean, and they come out, and they're all gross. And then immediately after a very short altercation, start going at James with axes. And out of the hundreds of people standing there, no one tries and does anything to stop them from murdering this child. There's a cop right there, and he just starts blowing his whistle. Like, dude.
Welcome to New York.
People come at you with axes. What? Like, I don't know. Yeah, and the bugs come up and save the day. And then that's, again, going back to, so they, like, make...
Oh, did you recognize the cop?
House. Yeah,
Dumb and Dumber?
Yeah, what's his name? I can't remember.
I can't remember. Anywho, what you were saying?
But yeah, but then like towards the end of the movie, again going into the real thing, and that's what like even solidified it too, because they showed James now. They made a house for him in Central Park or whatever out of the pit of the peach, and then
Yeah.
it closes out with a bunch of news articles that the spider has started a nightclub. The worm is making like skincare products. The grasshopper is like the lead violinist in the New York Orchestra. Ladybug delivers babies at the hospital, and you're like, oh, okay, so now these creatures are now also integrated into these
Into society,
claymation
yeah.
giant. Yeah, these claymation giant bugs have.
Which was also
Integrated.
that was actually a big part of the book, was that each character kind of had their dream of what they wanted to do if they were to be like how they like. There in the book, there's also a big theme of acceptance. How can I be accepted and whatnot, and each of the bugs, they have like a dream of like what they would want to do, and there's no talk of it throughout the entire movie until all of a sudden those newspaper clippings, and then it's like that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Anywho, all right, what do you got for a rating on this?
Mogwai After Midnight.
It's Eaten After Midnight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's exactly how I felt. Yeah, it's not quite a gremlin, huh?
Yeah, because it's like it's turning into a gremlin, because it's like there are the majority of the movie that is animation saves the movie.
Yeah.
The plot points that happen aside, the shark, like even the shark, even though it's ridiculous, it's a cool looking sequence.
Yeah.
But it's like the plot wise, no, but like if this was just like, I honestly think like, let's say you were to take this entire movie and put it in the style of Pagemaster, then it'd be a Gremlin. If it was just animated,
yeah,
you'd be like, oh, okay. But it's like they did cool stuff, and I think we also have like an appreciation of stop animation. It's a very painstaking process, and it's also very cool because not only are you just, not to diminish anything, but just like the fact that you're not drawing anything, you're actually making these figures and then compiling the images into
and it's like it's visually appeasing and visually compelling, and that's that's an important thing to think about when you're reviewing a movie as well. It's not just like what's the story, the character arc, and all that stuff. Is what are you visually taking in, and if that is really good, then that can make the movie better. You might actually you'll get distracted by how beautiful the movie is by like, oh, I didn't realize that this story was kind of short in a way because it was so visually captivating,
Yeah, exactly. So I think that this was, if it wasn't for the claymation and just how it looks, this definitely would be a Gremlin, just because there's really just no substance there, but the visual carries it on. And you're like, all right, I mean, I didn't learn anything or feel any type of I didn't feel any actual dread that something was going to happen to the characters. They made it to New York. I'm not really happy about that. Good for them. I don't really care because I'm not invested, but it was fun to watch them get there.
Yeah, more or less.
Yeah, for majority of the film.
I'd recommend this for kids to watch, though. It's like...
Yeah, I mean... Put it on for your kids and pull out your Switch,
Yeah, exactly.
So, go on your phone.
Actually, the kid might be like, I want to play the Switch. Give me the Switch.
Yeah, it's like an hour and 20 minutes out of your life. But it was, and I think like when watching it again, I kind of agree with you. I don't particularly, I would have to ask my mom, but I remember watching this a lot, but I don't remember like when we remember loving the movie.
I remember as a kid getting like specifically checked out at like, I think when the mechanical shark showed up, because I was like, no, like I remember as a kid being like, this is supposed to be actual sharks. Like,
well, that's the thing too, especially because when the shark eats the tuna and the heads come out, everything is like kind of like this representation of the ants, even them running out of food.
Mm-hmm.
They starved him, so that's another fear. The cold thing could be he lives in the dark attic, then is cold. You know what I mean? Like, it really seems like, again, now that I'm thinking about it, it seems like they're leaning in very hard for the ants to be even with the symbolism, to be the antagonist and everything, but again, it just didn't. Yeah, it just wasn't executed super well, and I'm just now putting that together.
I mean, I see. What?
No, nothing.
Oh, I see what you're saying with that, but if like you already have a source material that has symbolism and metaphors and an idea of overcoming loss, why would you try to rewrite that and then force your own idea into it while using the ideas of loss inside of it still? Like that just sounds like a poorly like writing 101. Don't force your own idea into something that's already good.
Well, yeah, and then it's like it sounds like you're adding a bunch of steps.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Well, so Mogwai after midnight.
Word.
Yeah. So next week, hopefully Jacob will be feeling better. We are going to be doing a banter episode. We are doing another Dream Reboot, Part 2. We're going to talk about some properties, and we're going to be a little more open to it this time around. We're just going to talk about things that in this day and age might be worthy of coming back to and maybe trying to update them or do something new with it and stuff like that.
Yeah, Dream Reboot, I used to like it. Revival, yeah, you know.
Yeah. All that kind of stuff. So yeah, please follow on Facebook, Instagram, Spotify, Apple Podcasts,
stuff.
That's everything. Stuff. So yeah, thanks for bearing with us for our another remote recording, but time and age, that's what we got to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Next week we'll be back together, and I won't sound like I'm in a hallway yelling at you.
Yay! And I will be able to focus a little bit better.
Yeah. All right. Well, so this is Tommy.
This is Jacob.
This is Tommy and Jacob's
mixtape.
God damn, it's so hard to get down. You gotta start doing
a
beat count. All right.
All right. That's it. Yeah. Bye.
Okay, bye, guys.